Hello and welcome to Tonalist Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting that we are doing today is called Golden Dusk. It's an 8x10 and I painted it last month in March of 2017. Today is Sunday, April 23rd, also of 2017, so you can see it's a pretty recent painting. This basic scene I've painted, actually I painted as a horizontal several times, and there is a horizontal painting around that's sort of my take on the golden-y thing. I have to say that all of the goldenness in this scene is injected by me. The actual scene was just a regular daylight scene that I used as my basically compositional motif. And sometime around in 2013 or so, I think I'd done a little 5x7 of this basic scene. It was really gold, and sold that, and then kind of been in my head. I was thinking, well, I'd like to take another crack at that, and I decided to configure it as a vertical, and it worked pretty well. The as a matter of fact, I think most of the sky, my reference was a photo of that 5x7 that I'd sold back then, and it's kind of an abstract-y approach. It's sort of like some skies I'd seen in some Charles Warren Eaton paintings, and I noticed in some of the Charles Warren Eaton's work that I suspect he may have painted on this sort of burnt umber as well. So because you can see little bits of dark peeking through in areas, and it's inevitable you're going to get these little specks of dark, which I don't mind actually. I think it works fine. I wish, well, if I could live for hundreds of years. I don't really wish to live for hundreds of years, but it'd be interesting to see how the paintings age over time, and as that oil paint becomes a little more translucent, it'd be interesting to see what these look like down the road, but I guess that's a topic for another day. Yesterday it was touch and go getting you guys your Tonalist Master video and blog post, being as I was deeply embroiled in trying to figure out how to use this movie making program. I use something called Movie Edit Pro, and I've been using it. I was using the old version. I updated to the latest version. I can't say that it seems any different at all to me, except that I get a volume slider, but that's actually kind of nice to have a volume slider, so maybe it's worth it. I don't know. Anyway, it's a fairly simple program. I know how to use it. I was this close, though. I downloaded Adobe Premiere Elements, and was this close to installing it until I figured out what my problem was: a mechanical issue with a USB hub or hard drive, or I don't know what. Anyway, I did get into the studio. I did not get any actual painting done, but I've been doing some board prep on some 5x7s, and I'd started that on Friday. And what I'd done was I'd got some burn umber and added it to my transparent acrylic gesso that I like to use, and applied that to the boards, and I got an okay surface. The thing is, it was like, it feels so matte, it feels so dry, that yesterday I decided to go ahead and go over that with an additional layer of just some burnt umber that had been thinned down with my oil medium and a little bit of mineral spirits. And that's the sort of in these studies that I've been working on that are master studies, I had just painted this oil paint over the top of a board that had been prepped with burnt sienna, and I really like that surface because it's a little bit already a little bit oil painty, and it's nice. So it's funny how you discover ways to improve things in odd ways sometimes, but it's worth. I think it's definitely worth the extra effort to basically do 2 stages in that board prep. And the question is whether I need that underneath stage to actually even be colored at all. You do have to, when you paint on wood, you do have to have that board sealed with something other than oil paint. You've got to use some type of gesso. The reason being is that the wood will absorb the oil over time, and you know, consequently probably most of your painting could get absorbed as well. So you got to have some sealer. I've used sealer before. I've been using transparent gesso for a long time, and I put the transparent gesso on the side of a brush and then kind of smack it on and then sand it down, and then like I said yesterday, I went ahead and brushed on a fairly thin layer of oil paint on top of that, and I think that's going to make a really nice surface. I've got about 19 scenes composited that I'm going to you know, make into paintings by doing small studies. So and then the best of those I'll make into larger paintings, and that will probably be whatever's good from that will be going into my museum show coming up in July. So I was tempted to skip the study stage altogether, but which is what I'd done here on Golden Dusk. I didn't do a study, but then again, I didn't really, because I'm working over underneath this Golden Dusk painting is some failed older painting, and I think it was a road with one of my sky hole things, you know, a road with a light tunnel, and that's just a failed bad painting, and covered that up with the burnt umber and did this painting on top, which I'm pretty happy with. Anyway, so I've decided I'm going to do these studies. I guess I'm going to do 19 studies. It's probably going to take me a couple weeks. And then, you know, who knows, maybe 19 large paintings from that. Generally, though, really, after I do a study of a scene, you know, there's a lot of... I'm getting wiser all the time. And one of the great things about doing the studies after the Tonalist Masters is that it really is helping to refine my sense of what's going to make a good composition in the landscape painting, and that is something that is almost impossible to teach. You can really only learn it through experience, and there's a lot of things that work as photographs that wouldn't work as paintings, or they may not even work well as photographs, frankly, you know. I've got this board that's an 1824 that's been prepped, and I haven't really found a scene that I'd painted yet that I think would make a great 1824 that I haven't already painted large. So I'm thinking maybe, well, I did composite the scene, but you know, sometimes things just don't make the jump. That's all. And I have a bit of a I don't want to call it a block, but let's just say the larger I go, the more challenges there are in getting the sort of qualities into the landscape painting that I really want to be present. And I am winning more than losing in that battle, but it's not a given that I'm always going to succeed, and that's okay. That's life in the big city, or in the small to medium-sized city, as the case may be. Anyway, we're going to be doing a blog here. I'm not sure what I'm going to discuss today. Yesterday I did put up a blog from 2013. Very short blog, but you know, a good blog. It was called Unify, Simplify, Amplify, and it was something. It was based on something I'd read from an article on marketing back then, and just a good message that I thought translated to painting as well. And so you can check that out if you look at my blog for yesterday. Today, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to wing it, and I have to retrain my dictation software, so that's going to be fun. But hey, you know, I do have a nice, faster computer, and it is making a lot of things like video editing quicker and easier. So that's good. And you know, you have to keep moving with the times if you're going to be involved with the technology. There's no other way around it. I get a lot of use out of the equipment I buy, but eventually, you know, it gets long in the tooth and you got to replace it. So next week, like I say, we'll be in the studio. We'll be doing little studies. That'll be fun. I really enjoy doing studies. We'll see how many I can do in a day. Sometimes in a good day I can do, you know, 3 studies. If one of them's a little square one, those little 5x5s go pretty quick. If it's full 5x7, usually 2 is the best I can manage. And on this burnt umber, that has definitely slowed me down because I can't leave as much of the burnt sienna. Well, in the old days, or previously, I could leave a lot of burnt sienna coming through. I really can't do that anymore. So anyway, I can see we're getting close to the end. Thanks for joining me today for Tonalist Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. Follow my blog at landscapepainter.co.nz, and please subscribe if you enjoy these videos on YouTube. I'll be back next week with another master study on Saturday, so meanwhile, take good care and stay out of trouble.